You know how every Halloween, there's always that one house that goes all out. The house with the fog machines, spooky music, and motion-activated jump scares that make you spill your candy. Yeah, that's my wife, Claire. For her, Halloween isn't just a holiday, it's a performance art. And for me, Jonathan, well, I'm her stage crew, sound tech, and unpaid labor all rolled into one. But this year, she wanted something different. No haunted graveyard, no zombie mannequins, no 12-foot skeletons. Instead, she looked at me one evening while sipping her pumpkin spice latte and said, "John, do you remember that van from Dumb and Dumber? The Mutt van?" I blinked. "You mean the giant furry dog car?" She grinned. "Yes, I've always wanted one." Imagine pulling up to our Halloween party in that thing. Now, I love my wife. She's creative, she's fun, and she once tolerated me trying to deep fry a turkey in our driveway. So when she says she wants a Mutt van, I'm not going to say no. I thought it would be simple, maybe some brown fabric, a few props, nothing crazy. But one trip to the craft store later, I was knee-deep in faux fur, glue guns, and enough zip ties to confuse a hardware store clerk. 2 days in, my garage looked like a dog exploded inside it. Claire would peek in, holding snacks, saying, "You're doing great, babe." Meanwhile, I was trying to figure out how to attach giant ears without the whole thing turning into a fire hazard. By the time I was done, it looked perfect. It had floppy ears that bounced when I drove, a tongue made from a yoga mat, and that classic Mutt sign on the side, cut and painted by Claire herself. The night I finally pulled it into the driveway, she screamed like I just proposed again. Neighbors came out. Kids pointed. One guy yelled, "Dude, that's awesome." I felt like a legend. But as I would soon learn, every neighborhood legend needs a villain. And ours came wearing a pressed polo shirt, a visor, and holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. Her name, Billy Estrada, the self-proclaimed enforcer of the HOA and the destroyer of joy. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my phone pinging nonstop. At first, I thought maybe I'd gone viral. Maybe someone snapped a photo of my masterpiece and the internet had finally recognized true art. But no, it was our neighborhood group chat, and the messages were pure chaos. Who parked the dog car? Is that thing real fur? I think it's hilarious. This is an HOA violation waiting to happen. Guess who sent that last one? Yep, Billy Estrada. Now, our HOA isn't terrible, but Billy treats those community rules like the 10 Commandments carved on a granite tablet. She's the kind of person who measures the height of everyone's mailbox and reports you if your grass grows half an inch too long. So I knew my furry friend was about to cause a storm. That afternoon, Claire convinced me to take the van for a spin around the neighborhood, just to show off her dream come true. We rolled down the street, windows open, Halloween playlist blasting Monster Mash. Kids waved, parents laughed, and one guy filming us nearly dropped his pumpkin spice latte. It was perfect, until I saw Billy. She was standing on her perfectly trimmed lawn, pruning the same rose bush she'd probably been cutting for 15 years, when her eyes met the van. Her jaw dropped, her clippers froze midair. For a second, I thought she was having a stroke. Then she slowly took off her gardening gloves, pointed at the van like it was a public menace, and stormed inside her house. Claire laughed. She probably thinks it's cute. Oh, my sweet summer wife, Billy Estrada doesn't do cute. About an hour later, just as I was touching up the ears with a bit more glue, we heard a knock on the door. A sharp, angry knock. The kind that already sounds judgmental before you even open it. I opened the door and there she was, clipboard, visor, fury. "Good afternoon, Jonathan," she said, emphasizing every syllable like I was a misbehaving child. "Do you happen to know who owns that vehicle parked outside?" I smiled. "Sure do, that'd be me. What do you think?" She adjusted her glasses and pursed her lips. "I think it violates at least 7 of our HOA's community standards: appearance, noise, and possibly sanitation." Sanitation, I asked. Billy, it's made of craft fur, not actual dog hair. She didn't laugh, not even a twitch. Instead, she scribbled something on her clipboard and said, "I'll have to file a report. You'll be hearing from us soon." Then she turned on her heel and left. Claire peeked from behind me. "She's actually writing you up for a Halloween decoration?" I nodded. Guess she's allergic to fun. But that was just the beginning, because Billy wasn't done yet. No, she was just getting started. That night, while Claire and I were setting up Halloween lights around the driveway, we noticed something odd. Billy was outside again, taking photos of our van. Every angle, every side, like she was collecting evidence for a trial. Claire whispered, "Is she documenting our van?" "Yep," I said. "Probably planning a PowerPoint presentation about it." I laughed it off. But inside, I could feel that familiar mix of irritation and mischief bubbling up. Because if Billy wanted a battle over a Halloween decoration, oh, I was ready. The next morning, I'm halfway through my coffee when my phone buzzes again. It's an official email from the HOA, subject line: "Urgent, non-compliant vehicle violation, immediate attention required." I click it open, and there it is, a full-page complaint. Photos, date stamps, even a description. A vehicle has been modified in a manner inconsistent with community standards. Appearance mimics a canine, potential health hazard due to fabric material and probable odor emission. Probable odor emission, she actually wrote that. I nearly spit out my coffee laughing. Claire leaned over my shoulder, read it, and said, "John, she really called it a health hazard. It's a van, not a landfill." I could feel my inner prankster waking up. Because the logical thing to do would have been to email back and explain it's a temporary decoration for Halloween. But logic doesn't make good stories, so I replied with, "Dear HOA, the Mutt van is a non-permanent artistic installation designed to celebrate the holiday spirit and enhance neighborhood engagement. Sincerely, Jonathan." Within minutes, I heard a ping. Billy replied, "Remove it immediately or further action will be taken." Now, when someone says further action, normal people get nervous. But me, I started planning how to make it even better. That night, I added more: a little dog bone decal on the hood, a wagging tail made out of cardboard that moved with the wind. Claire helped me spray a light vanilla scent inside, so it literally smelled like cookies. By the time I was done, it looked like something straight out of a comedy movie. The next morning, right on cue, Billy appeared again, except this time, she had backup. She was marching down the sidewalk with two other HOA board members, one holding a clipboard, the other filming on a phone like they were gathering evidence for a Netflix documentary titled The Menace of Mutt. I walked out smiling like I had nothing to hide. "Morning, everyone. Beautiful day for a little creativity, huh?" Billy didn't smile back. "Jonathan," she said sharply, "this isn't creativity. It's vandalism by fur." I swear, Claire almost choked holding back her laugh. Billy pointed at the van. "You are in direct violation of Community Rule 1 for B. Unsightly modifications. You need to remove it immediately." I crossed my arms. It's Halloween. It's temporary. Rule 1 for C says seasonal decorations are permitted through October 31st. She froze. I could see the gears turning behind those judgmental eyes. "That rule refers to decorations, not full-scale vehicle transformations," she snapped. I shrugged. "Then maybe we should add a rule specifically about dog-themed vehicles next year." The other HOA members tried not to laugh. One actually turned away to hide his smile. Billy's face turned red. "You have until sunset to remove it," she hissed. "Or I'll have to contact the authorities." And I thought she was bluffing. I really did, but no. That evening, just as I was setting up the Halloween lights, I heard sirens. Small-town sirens, you know the type, the kind that sound dramatic even when someone's just lost a cat. And when I looked up the street, I saw them. Two police cruisers. Heading straight for my house. Claire gasped. Oh my god, she actually called the cops. And there she was, right behind them, Billy, standing tall on the sidewalk with her arms crossed like she'd just summoned the FBI. The scene was unreal. Picture this, the orange glow of Halloween lights flickering off the driveway, kids running around with candy buckets, and to police cruisers pulling up like it's a hostage situation over a furry van. Claire stood beside me, holding her mug of cider, whispering, "She actually did it. She called the police." And sure enough, there she was, Billy Estrada, standing at the edge of our lawn like a proud tattletale who just summoned justice itself. Clipboard in one hand, HOA badge lanyard around her neck, yes, she made her own, and a face that screamed, "I'm finally taking this neighborhood back." The officers step out. To guys in their 30s, one looks serious, the other looks like he's already trying not to laugh. "Evening, sir," the first one says, trying to keep his composure. "We received a report about a suspicious vehicle." Before I could answer, Billy jumped in. "That's it right there," she said, pointing dramatically like she'd found buried treasure. "That thing is an eyesore. It's covered in animal fur. It's against our community's cleanliness and visual harmony standards." The cops turned toward the van. One tilted his head, the other squinted. Then, in perfect sync, both of them started chuckling. "Wait," one said, walking closer, Is that supposed to be the van from Dumb and Dumber?" I smiled, "Yep, my wife's dream Halloween decoration." "Pretty spot on, huh?" The officer nodded, grinning ear to ear. "It's incredible. I haven't seen something like this in years." The other officer burst out laughing, actually clutching his chest. He pointed to the Mutt cut sign. "Dude, you even got the tongue hanging off the front." Meanwhile, Billy's face was melting. Her smug expression turned into pure disbelief as the cops, the actual authorities she'd called, started taking photos. "Gentlemen," she barked, "this is no laughing matter. This man has defaced his property and violated our regulations." The first officer turned to her, still smiling. "Ma'am, with all due respect, this isn't a police issue. It's a Halloween decoration." She frowned. "It's unsanitary." He sniffed the air. "Smells like cookies, actually." Claire couldn't hold it in. She burst out laughing so hard she had to lean against me. Billy stomped her foot. "You don't understand. It's ruining the community's image." The second officer, still holding his phone up, grinned. "Ma'am, if anything, it's improving my mood. You mind if I get a photo for the department's group chat?" She went silent, like the air got sucked right out of her lungs. I swear, that moment, that single, glorious moment, was worth every hour I spent gluing fur to metal. The first cop turned to me, still chuckling. "Sir, you're all good. Just, maybe don't drive it over 20 miles an hour. Wouldn't want a dog ear flying off." I laughed. "Got it, officer. Appreciate it." As they got back in their cruisers, Billy tried one last desperate move. "I'll be filing a formal complaint with the HOA board," she shouted. The officer called back over his shoulder, "Make sure to include the tail wagging feature. That's the best part." And with that, the cruisers drove off, lights flashing, laughter echoing down the street. Neighbors had gathered by then, phones were out, kids were giggling. One guy even yelled, "Yo, John, you made the cops laugh. You win Halloween, man." Billy stormed off to her house, slamming her door so hard a plastic skeleton on her porch fell over. But that wasn't the end, because the next day, I got the best idea for revenge. The next morning, I woke up to something glorious. My phone was blowing up. Not with HOA threats this time, but with laughter. Apparently, one of the neighbors had filmed the entire scene from last night. Billy yelling, cops laughing, everyone cheering, and posted it on our local Facebook group with the caption, "HOA Karen versus Mutt Cuts. Guess who won?" Within hours, it had hundreds of likes. People were sharing it, commenting things like, "Jonathan deserves free candy for life." Claire's smile at the end made my day, and my favorite, Billy needs to chill and maybe buy a costume instead of a clipboard. It was everywhere. Now, if this were a normal story, that would have been the end. But I'm not the kind of guy to let poetic justice pass me by. Oh no, I had one last trick up my sleeve. See, the HOA hosts a little best decorated house contest every Halloween. Billy always wins. Always. Her displays are technically perfect, sterile, color-coordinated, lifeless. Last year's theme was a tasteful autumn. Translation: to pumpkins and a wreath that looked like it belonged in a retirement home catalog. But this year, I decided to enter, not just with my house. With the Mutt Cuts van. Clara loved the idea. She even helped me set up a whole display. We parked the van in the driveway, surrounded it with fake bones, paw prints, and a big sign that said, "Vote for the top dog of Halloween." Neighbors thought it was hilarious. Kids came by to take pictures. Even the mailman stopped for a selfie. By the evening of the HOA's judging, the whole neighborhood had gathered, laughing, talking, eating snacks, everyone except Billy. She came out of her house right before sunset, arms crossed, glaring at the crowd like she was staring down a crime scene. Then she saw the sign and her face twisted. "You can't enter this," she snapped, marching up to me. "This contest is for decorations, not full-scale vehicle transformations," I interrupted, grinning. "Yeah, we covered that." People around us laughed. Even one of the HOA judges, the treasurer, smirked and said, "Well, technically, there's no rule against it." Billy's jaw dropped. "Are you serious?" I shrug. "Hey, rules are rules, right?" "You know better than anyone." The treasurer leaned toward her. "Billy, maybe next year we should add a section about vehicular artistry." The crowd roared with laughter. Billy stormed back toward her house, muttering something about decorum and lawsuits. When the results were announced, the HOA president cleared his throat dramatically and said, "And this year's winner for Best Halloween Display goes to Jonathan and Clara for their Mutt Cuts van." The crowd went wild. Kids cheered. Someone actually barked. Claire threw her arms around me, laughing so hard she could barely breathe. And from across the street, I saw Billy standing in her doorway, arms crossed, her pumpkin-themed headband slightly crooked, pure fury in human form. I waved. She didn't wave back, but karma wasn't done with her yet. Because remember that plastic skeleton that fell over when she slammed her door last night? She never fixed it. And during the HOA's closing announcements, one of the judges noticed it, lying face down on her porch, and said, "Oh, looks like house number 23 forgot to finish their setup. That's a disqualification." Yep, Billy disqualified herself. I don't know what felt better, winning the contest or watching her lose it without me lifting a finger. By the end of the night, everyone was taking photos with the van again. Even the HOA president asked if I'd drive it in next year's community parade. The same parade Billy usually runs, poetic, perfect. Later, when the crowd died down, Claire leaned on my shoulder and said, "You know, John, you didn't just make my dream van. You made this the best Halloween ever." I smiled. "Well, honey, laughter's the best revenge." We sat there, watching the lights twinkle off our furry masterpiece, neighbors still chuckling as they passed by. And across the street, Billy's porch light flicked off in silent defeat. Moral of the story: when a Karen tries to kill your fun, don't fight her with anger, fight her with creativity, laughter, and a van covered in fake fur. Because sometimes the best kind of revenge is just having everyone else on your side when she realizes she's the punchline.